Hi, thanks for joining us in Game Room Crafts. I'm Kelly. This is my game room. Let's play. So today I've decided I'm going to make two different Lotus molds in two different ways. And this Lotus mold, just like this, is a candle holder. And I've written inside that it takes 80 milliliters of liquid to fill this mold. I actually measured it with rice. That's a great way to measure it. I found that when I measure it with water, I tend to be a little short, even though I filled it all the way up. And it's just, I think, the difference in viscosity between water and resin or water and mixed mold. So when I measure with rice, the measurement is just slightly more accurate. So I'm going to be doing this Lotus, which is a tea light holder, little trinket dish. You could put a succulent in it, something like that. We're going to be doing that in Mix2Mold using our acrylic ink. This Lotus mold, same thing. Candle holder, succulent holder, little trinket dish, whatever. Beautiful mold. This one takes 80 milliliters to fill. Same way I measured it using rice. And we're going to be doing that in resin. We're going to use glitter and just a little bit of epoxy resin colorant. So I'm not sure what it is, but it's not alcohol ink. And you can tell that because it moves differently in the resin. Anyway, I think we're going to start with our Mix2Mold, and then we'll move on to the resin. So in that container, I have 80 milliliters of powder measured out. We have found that, and when I say we, I mean me and the kid, have found that it roughly, it's like a one to one basically. When we put in the powder and you add that little bit of liquid into it, it's roughly, if I say I have 80 milliliters of powder here, it's pretty close to the 80 milliliter mark. I like mixing with these. However, when I'm using the Mix2Mold, I like to use this because it's easier to get all the stuff out of the mixing cup and into our mold. So Mix2Mold's packaging says that it's 3 to 1. So 3 parts powder to 1 part liquid. Yeah, I don't measure because it doesn't work. Not for me. For me, the best way to do it is by feel. I like to make a little well. Pour my liquid inside. Get mixing that way. It's gonna first turn into like a thick, chunky paste. And then you just add more water. And it doesn't take much because, like I said, they say 3 to 1. See, even that might be too much water for the mold that we're making, in which case that means I'm going to have to add more powder. But before I do that, I want to make sure I get all the lumps out, because you break up those lumps, you might not need as much extra powder as you initially thought. So you scrape the sides, you scrape the bottom, you use your stick to mush those pieces against the side of your cup to break it up. But that is too liquidy for the mold that it. So I'm just going to add a little more. Mix it and see what we got. You go a little at a time because otherwise you will be making extra molds till the cows come home. Because, oh, now I have too much mix. Oh, now I have too much water. Got to add some more powder. Oh, now I have too much mix. Vicious circle. Vicious, vicious circle. So just a little at a time. The problem is if you don't mix it enough on the initial pour, you will end up having to mix extra. And if you're doing straight white, not a problem. But if you're doing a color, then that could become a problem. We're going to hope that we're there. I have a feeling that's less than what we're going to need. But we're going to try it. Oh, see that clump? I tell you, there is nothing worse than thinking you got all the lumps out and then going to pour and seeing them come out in giant clumps. And that is, I know it's less than what I need because I just put it at eye level and it was just over the 50 ml mark. And that's definitely less than what I need. So more powder, more water. So the consistency I'm looking for is like pancake batter. Okay, I like that. That's good for me. So now I'm going to shake up my ink. Kit and I have discovered on previous projects that this pink, along with the, I think it says dark yellow, alcohol ink, hold their color beautifully in Mix2Mold. So put it in, mix it up, make sure you're scraping those sides, you get all that color off the side of the pot and into the mixture. When it comes to Mix2Mold, believe me, all the color you can get, use it. Because of the nature of Mix2Mold and the fact that it is pure white, I mean bright white. Whatever color you get in this pot now, that's not the color you're going to get when it dries. When it dries, it's going to be paler. It's going to be way more pastel. So I have the mix that I want, but I want little droplets. So I drop some in the mold itself and I put it in and I just kind of give it a swirl, not mixing that part in. The rest of it got mixed in nicely. This swirl did not, and I did it on purpose. Okay, here we go. This mold has deep points. So I'm going to stop at about the halfway mark. Pick that up and give those points. See, they have the big points and they also have these little points here. Give them all a squeeze. Otherwise, you will end up with bubbles in your points and it's not fun. I've seen it. It's not happy. And I think this will fill the whole thing. Watch me have too much after I made extra because I didn't think I had enough. This is what I was talking about when it comes to the Mix2Mold. Not just Mix2Mold. My understanding is it's like that with most of the eco pores. These ceramic casting resins. Give it a little thump and jiggle to get any bubbles that are trapped in there to come up. Could at this point take a tool, this one, a little stiff tool, and kind of go around this edge so that any bubble that's trapped right there, it will come out to the center where it can pop, pop, come on, pop. There you go. Okay, so I did make up too much as I thought. I'm going to top it off a little because I see it's not full. Oh, now it's full. Ah, very fine line between doming and overflowing. Very fine line. Okay. Push that back out of the way because if not, I will spill it. Ask me how I know. And yes, I think pretty much everything that I did because I didn't have enough is now sitting in my cup. So I should have went with my initial instinct when I said I measured it out and 80 was going to be enough. So this is extra. What will I do with it? Wouldn't it be nice if I could fill up this whole box? And yeah, not quite, almost. So what I'm going to do is give myself just a little bit more so I can get that topped off and cover made. And I believe that was way too much water. And this is that vicious circle I was talking about. Although, you know, it's not like these pieces are going to go to waste. They're not. This mold that I'm filling now is a beautiful heart trinket box. I've also used it to make candles because I was using Mix2Mold. So I actually filled it with candle. It was a beautiful rose scented candle. And I'm pretty sure I did it again where I made too much, but I need to finish filling the box and also our cover. I don't think the color is an exact match, but I think it's pretty close. And in this case, it doesn't have the drips. Yeah, not bad. It could be worse. See me clean the edge here? Because what's going to happen is if you let it dry like that with the edge overflowing, when it's done setting, you will have a huge overpour lip that you will have to clean, and nobody wants to do that. It's not easy because that's the part of the cover that will fit with the bottom of the box, and if it's not even, then you're going to have yourself a lot of sanding you're going to have to do and trimming, and it's not fun. Not fun. We get my roses. These roses have a lot of nooks and crannies. So I use these roses to top boxes, jars. Plus, they're just really cute. You could give somebody a rose hug instead of a heart or a teddy or something like that. They're adorable. Okay, a little bit more. We're going to do a bear. Okay, so there they are. Those are our Mix2Mold buds. I'm going to clean this up and then we'll get ready to do the second part of our pour. See you soon. Okay, I am mixing up 100 milliliters of the Bond Craftor 1-to-1. I'm going to show you here. Hopefully you can see. You see that stringiness? Almost like oil and water slicks. That's what you see when the resin is not fully incorporated. And you're going to keep seeing that until it's mixed well. You need to mix your resin until it is crystal clear. You're scraping your sides and your bottom. I like to go around and also in an up and down motion, but I do not pull the paddle completely out of the resin because that will introduce more bubbles into the resin. I will also tilt my cup. Now my mixer has 2 buttons. It'll go clockwise with one button, counterclockwise with the other. I know a lot of the newer, more fancy-dancy have AI function and they will automatically switch every 30 seconds. I go, for about a minute in one direction and then I switch over to the other. Oh, I can feel it. My mixer is going to need to be recharged after this bout. This is a hard-working mixer. The great thing is, because I bought that spare, if my mixer ever died mid-mix, this spare mixer that I bought for $10 from Amazon that runs on AA batteries, it fits this standard hex size mixer paddle. So if this one ever died mid-mix, I can just switch it out for the other one and finish up my job. That's why I bought it. I set a timer, but I also watch, because you can say, oh, mix for 3 minutes, mix for 4 minutes, and think, okay, I'm done. But if you see those lines that I was telling you about, you're not done. You got to keep going until it's clear. Yes, you're going to see bubbles, but if you see those lines, that's not good. You keep going. You keep scraping. You keep mixing. Sometimes it's going to be under the 3 minutes. Sometimes it's going to be 4 minutes. Sometimes it'll be 6. But you just keep going. And yeah, it also depends on the amount of resin you're mixing. So be cognizant of all of that. Sometimes if I'm not sure, I'll take my light and I'll put it right on top of my resin. And I can see if those mixing lines are still there. And I'm going to call that good because I was mixing a bit before I started recording. And I'm going to mix more as I add in my colors and my glitters. So this is what I'm doing today. I am using some of my sigwong epoxy colorant in pink. This is a really pretty color. It's very vibrant. I'm just going to put 4 drops in because I'm going to be using my glitter in extra fine and in chunky. So because I'm adding the chunky, if it was just extra fine, I wouldn't really worry about adding glue. But because this is going to have our chunky glitter, which will fall straight to the bottom because of the weight, I'm going to add some glue. So I had to get the kids' help because I had not opened this glitter yet. This is the Recollections Extra Fine Glitter. I got it at Michael's. This is the bubblegum color, which I thought was nice and bright. I'm going to go right along with this pink sigwong. I'll put 2 good scoops in there because I am not using crushed crystal in this one. Normally I don't like to mix glitter with my paddle, so I don't know what I was thinking. This is Sulin Party Blend Glitter. Pink Party is the color. We also got this at Michael's. And believe it or not, this is not in the glitter section where you would get the rest of your glitter, like your scrapbooking and paperwork stuff. This you find in the kids section, which kind of makes sense. So I'm going to mix that up a bit. And then I'm going to add my glue. Making sure to scrape the side of your cup because that is where your glitter is going to stick. Okay, I'm going to take this off because I do not like to mix my glue with my paddle. I just don't. It, to me, makes it more difficult to clean off the paddle. Okay, so there's that. And I will stick it on my mosaic tile scrappy mold until I'm ready to clean it off, which won't be too long because I don't like it to dry on there. Although if it dries, you can clear it off. So this is roughly 3 ounces. So 3 drops. And I'm guessing I need to clean off my tip because that was a little rough just to get 3 drops off. Oops, do not spill. And I'm mixing that in, scraping the sides, scraping the bottom. You can see that consistency went straight to gloop. It's like slime. Maybe not quite as thick as slime. I think that would not be completely useful. But yeah. Anybody ever saw Ghostbusters? Slimer left his slime around. That's kind of what it looks like. Only his was green. Now, if you remember, I'm working with the slime stuff. You will absolutely have to cut this off. It won't pour in and then stop pouring on its own. You have to slice it off at the end. Getting some glue in there because you see those tips. Little tip, big tip, and it goes all the way around. That's where your bubbles are going to hide. You don't want that. Get some alcohol in there, and I'm going to pull it a little to the side while I start the pour. Hoping that will help us get it down where I need it to go. I'm going to stop there. Try and do my squeeze in all my points. You can kind of see through the mold. So if you see any big bubble, any big white spots, the rest of the resin's there, but here's a white spot. Well, that's a bubble. So that's what you squeeze out. It will come out. It will come to the surface. And either it will pop on its own, or you can poke it with a stick. Not a real stick, I would say like a silicone stick. Or give it a shot of alcohol. Slowly refill up the rest of it. Did I make enough? I think I made enough. I hope I made enough. Aha! The rice trick worked. I'm going to take my stick right here, this edge. That's where our bubbles. You see it come up? Poke it. Hello. Hello, bubble. Come see me. Okay. Hopefully that did it. And that is domed. And hopefully we have no bubbles. But I will clean up and I will see you back on demold so we can find out if my bubble game is on it today. All right. See you soon.
3 hours later.
Okay, so these Mix2Molds, they're dry. They're hot. They sat on their own for, well, the whole time I was working on the epoxy resin part. And then once they were solid, I put them in the curing box. Ours is a repurposed food dehydrator. It works just fine for what we need it to do. There's our little teddy bear. I don't know if you can see. I forgot to turn my light on. That might help. There's our teddy bear. So that's number 1. Number 1 extra. Okay, this was the cover for our extra box. Oh, bubbles. Now here's the thing about these bubbles. They are fixable. I can take my little spackle, I put that in there, but really from the top you can't tell it's there. The other thing I can do is see that there's a lip there, sand that down. Unfortunate, I forgot. I don't believe I ran this edge, or if I did, obviously I didn't do it good enough because that is a nice size bubble. Okay. And the box that goes with it. I like to wipe my molds down, especially with the Mix2Mold, before I take the project out. It actually, believe it or not, reduces the amount of trimming I have to do. Okay. So remember, we did this with pure white Mix2Mold and fluorescent pink acrylic ink. You can see that there's still some spots that are, it's not completely dry. I could stick that back in the dehydrator. I can just let it sit. I'm in no rush. There's tiny little bubbles there. Not worried about it. See that? That's so cute. And when it's closed like this, you really can't tell that bubble is there. I do need to trim up that edge up here though. Okay, so that's 2. Again, wiping it off before I demold it. Very pretty rose. Very pretty rose. Now, here's the thing about mixed mold. You need to make sure that whatever mold you're going to use it in is completely clean. This mold had a little blue stuck in the very tips of our rose from the last time I cast it. A mixed mold will pick up those things from the time before. So you have to clean it off well before you use mixed mold. Okay, little rose, now big rose. I will say this. These molds are not cut level. So when I put it in, I forgot that I was supposed to use a popsicle stick on this side to kind of even it out. Beautiful. That's beautiful. And I can use that on the top of a box. You know, it just adds something to that. You know, completely changes the project when you do that. Gorgeous. Okay, and this was what we actually wanted to cast. But because I didn't listen to myself about how much mixed mold I needed, I ended up with way more than necessary. Okay, loosen it up. You see the beautiful dark fluorescent pink? That is where I dripped it in instead of mixed it in. And that's exactly what I wanted. Ooh, I even got some down in the tips. That's nice. I am going to need to clean out my mold. Now, like I said, these are all hot. I mean, directly out of the curing box. They are hot. I'm going to let them cool down. And I'll probably wait till later this evening or maybe even tomorrow morning to get in, and I'm going to spray seal those with my clear varnish spray paint. Some of them I do using my polyacrylic, like the Minwax. I tend to use that on the roses and sometimes the teddy bears. It really depends. But since I'm going to be spraying the Lotus, I'll probably do the box with the spray also. I like to keep that pink as vibrant as I can. And the best way to do that, using the spray sealer instead of the polyacrylic or the deco art or anything like that. Okay, so I still have my resin curing. It's now in my curing box since I took these out, and we'll be back on demo. See you soon. Hi, welcome back. Okay, so everything is done. I showed you these. Oh, remember this? So I wasn't happy with the fact that there were holes. So what I did was I mixed up a little bit of Mix2Mold, and I used the same pink colorant, but obviously not enough. But I filled in the hole with the Mix2Mold paste. Now, it wasn't liquidy. I made it thicker intentionally so that I could fill it in. And it's been sitting for a while, so I'm simply going to go like that. No more hole. Our hole is gone. Yay! So that's how you can fill in your Mix2Mold holes. And remember what I was saying about how these can be used as trinket boxes or as candles? This is our old Mix2Mold trinket box that we filled with apple cinnamon candle. So we made an apple cinnamon candle in our Mix2Mold box. And the great thing about that is once you use it all up, you can just refill it again or not. It's up to you. Okay, and this was an extra I made off of the leftover Mix2Mold repair paste that I made. Okay, so I know our little resin Lotus is done. I'm going to roll those off. And there we have it. Yay, there are no bubbles on our points. And our glitter did go throughout. It didn't all sink. You can see it through the backside. I have a little bit of trimming to do on the bottom. Actually, yeah, I can just pick that off. It's not bad at all. So that's very, very cool. Now we can put our tea light candles in there. A succulent plant. Trinket dish. You can throw your whatever in it. Jewelry. I have one that I throw my rings in. But yeah, so lotus flowers, 2 ways. Mix2Mold and epoxy resin. And that's our show for today. We will see you back here next week. We don't know what we're doing, but whatever it is, I'll try to make it fun. Thanks for joining us at Game Room Crafts. See you later. Bye.